Now, what's really cool tonight is we're going to interview a really incredibly powerful woman in our industry. But guess what? I've got a co-host, and you all know him as Mr. Sam Villa.
What's up, AC? I can't tell you how happy I am to be here on a Wednesday, a Wellness Wednesday at that. Great to see you,
That's
AC.
right. I don't even get to have you on Mannequin Monday or Transformation Tuesday that often, so super happy to have you.
I'm just happy to see your face, man. I got to tell you, we were in Orlando and we missed you, buddy. We were thinking about you.
I missed you too. So, Sammy, tonight we got Ronit Enos, who is a prophet Jedi. Imagine that, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's the host of Huddle Time with Ronit. She's an Amazon bestseller for the book Profit First for Salons, which you're definitely going to hear some about tonight. She is an entrepreneur from the very beginning. She had a huge, amazing, successful salon before she got into the coaching business, and now she is the CEO of Salon Cadence, which is a really incredible salon coaching company, white glove salon coaching company. So please, in the chat, y'all, type in welcome Ronit.
Yay!
Hey guys, wow, what a great surprise. I have Sam in the house. That's amazing.
You know what, Ronit? If you were going to be here with us, I had to have a seat in the house. So I demand to have a seat in the house because I know how wonderful and how excellent this topic is going to be, because it's so well needed and so well needed to be heard in today's industry, in today's world. So I'm really, really happy to be here with you.
I am super excited. This is really great. Hey, Andrew, it's so good to be here again. I love this Wellness Wednesday. There's just nothing like it.
Yeah, I think this is round 3 for you.
I'm becoming a pro on this. I am totally becoming a pro on this.
So, Ronit, you have an incredible history. Can you, just for the audience that hasn't seen you yet, can you give us just a snapshot of your experience and what has kind of brought you here?
What has brought me here today, or how did I started the career or Profit First?
I would love for you to kind of start from Israel, because I think that's an important part of the journey.
Okay. Well, as you know, everybody always asks me where am I from, and I always say I'm from Mars, because literally I really think I was born in Mars. But the truth is, and you do hear in the background Mr. Aiko right now, Bill has not picked him up yet. Just so you
know. Bill, you're in trouble.
Bill, you are in trouble. But, I was born in Israel, and at the age of 22, actually at the age of 21, I met Bill. But I went back to Israel, and I was a flight attendant for El Al Airlines, and met him. And we fell in love. We literally fell in love. And so we dated for a year during flying and all of that. Was really exciting. I would meet him in New York for every month, because I had my flight to New York, and we would just have a magical time in New York. And then one day he proposed the question. So I moved from Israel to here. I just said yes. But before that, I actually started my career in Israel as a hairdresser. I used to get my hair done every 5 minutes. I just love going to the salon. The vibe in the salon just got me. So one day, I would do my blue strip and my yellow strip and my pink strip, and that kind of like that. So when I came back home one day and my mom saw myself with red and yellow and blue, she said, "Oh, Ronit, I love your hair. It looks amazing." Of course, she didn't mean it, but I guess it was better than doing drugs at that time. So that's kind of like how I started my career. The salon owner said, who was my mentor, said, "Ronit, you're here all the time, you spend all this money. Why don't you come and work here as a teenager?" And my mom said, "Well, if you do your homework and you do what you're supposed to do, you can go and do that." And that's kind of like how I got introduced into this wonderful industry. Yeah. I had a wonderful opportunity. He sent me to L'Oreal Paris 1 year to learn how to do balayage. And I came back and I started painting, and that was it. But as a young kid, you finish your school, you go to the Israeli army. I joined the special forces in the Israeli army and did great 2 years. And then afterwards met my husband, moved to America, and my very first job was in Boston, Massachusetts as a hairstylist. Fast forwarding it, of course, but I I had to go through schooling again. Graduated Vidal Sassoon, joined Tony and Guy, did a lot of work on the platform for Tony and Guy in Boston. And one day I said, this is it. I got to have my own space, my own place. I need to build. I missed Israel so much. I missed Tel Aviv. I missed the New York vibe. And I said, I gotta open a salon that parties all the time. And by the way, we do hair too. So that's how Maxime was born.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So what at what point did you start to notice that you had kind of an knack and a passion for kind of shaping business?
I always wanted to belong. I want to be part of a team. And I was born in Israel, so that is a big community. It's a team, And I felt like I just wanted to have my own thing. I wanted to have a team, and I had a dream, had a vision. I knew kind of like what I wanted the salon to look like, to feel like, to smell like. I wanted music. I wanted to have a great music. I just wanted to have that the video you just did for when we started, that's what I wanted. I wanted that, and I wanted to have that for people to come and go for a date. That's what I needed, because I was lonely. I needed my Tel Aviv people. And so that's when I decided, it's time for me to build that, and I did. So Maxime means in Hebrew magnificent, and it was born in 2001, September 11, 2001.
Nice.
That was the first one, yeah. So I knew I wanted to own my own business, of course. After a few years of being in the business. 18 years, second salon. The kids moved out of the house, Gabby and Willie. They're now, 30 years old. And they moved out, and Bill and I knew that at one point we're going to have to move to where they're going. So we decided that maybe it's time to create something that means a lot to us. We were successful. We built a very profitable salon and spa. And for me, it was always really important that I would enjoy my journey of entrepreneur, that I will be wealthy entrepreneur, and that I will enjoy my children, my family, my friends. And so it took us a while to figure out how to do it. And once we did, when we decided to, to sell our company and to join the kids in the West Coast, we said, why don't we just teach and train women entrepreneurs like myself that want the same achieve. They are high achievers, and they wanted to learn how to be very profitable, sustainable. They believe in causes. They believe in giving back. And they wanted to have fun doing that. Well, we just teach them how to do that.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's how Salon Cadence was born.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Now, listen, it sounds really all amazingly sweet, but believe me, there were times where I was, ready to jump from the topest mountain all the way down many times, so, definitely.
Yeah. So the thing that I know that, when we started to have the conversation about tonight, that we wanted to really offer to you, the community out there, is we want to dive into what Ronit has become very passionate about, which is the mindset around money and profitability. So just to start it off, I invite the audience, know that this is an open forum for you too. So please type into the chat any questions you have. But I'd love for those of you watching, type into the chat just one word that describes your mindset or your sense around money, just to, so we can see where people are at. But, Ronit, what do you see as you kind of look out into the industry around that kind of mindset with money?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I talked to you, Sam, about that. I talked to Andrew about that. Money has a funny word to it. It's a funny tune to it, right? And everybody tuned to it in a different way. It's like
Mhm.
music. You have preference on music, right? When you grow up at home, you might hear about money in a good way. Yeah, we got to save money. Money is a good thing. You want to make sure that you can sustain yourself. Or you might hear that you don't have money. We can't afford that. You have to work hard for your money. You got to go to school, and then you're going to go to college, and then you're going to, and for me at home, money was not a good conversation. My parents fought about money all the time, all the time. So to me, I grew up thinking that money is a source of all evil. I didn't think it was a good thing. My father was very frugal. Okay, stingy. He was very stingy. And let's call it what he was. He liked to think that he was a savior, and he was, but he was the extreme one. But he also very, very strict, a very strict father. When I came back from school, he would tell me, go to your room, and when you learn the multiplication of 5, you can come out of the room. So I literally was taught that unless I know my numbers, I'm not coming out of the room. So I was in punishment. So as growing up, I really looked at numbers and math and now money as not a good thing. And I felt like I was not very smart. So I wasn't really successful at school in math. As a matter of fact, I was not successful. So I ran away from school many times, especially in the math classes. But, and that's how I took it to my adult life. And many people probably feel different about money. So to me, I took it to my adult life, and I took it to my business. I was afraid to look at numbers. I didn't think I was smart. I never went to college. So I felt something wrong about me not going to college. I came to America. My English was weird. I told you I was born in Mars. So I felt like, well, I'm not so smart, but I'm going to build a business. Somehow I'm going to make it work. And yeah, so, they say to you, what scares you the most is what you need to do the first thing the most. And I took on learning numbers, and that's kind of how I was introduced to numbers. And once I've learned about numbers, and once I got accomplished and I got some really good wins on profit, I started feeling very confident. I fell in love with them. So I'm drinking from my father. Thank you for that.
Ronit, when they talk, think about money mindset, and you think about that. I mean, do you believe that there's such a thing as a bad money mindset, a good money mindset, one or the other? I mean, because money, when you think about it, it's a piece of paper that has some value to it. Yet a lot of people could look at that value as happiness, as a resource.
Mm-hmm.
Your father looked at it in a different way. Mm-hmm. Bad money mindset versus good money mindset.
Okay, so bad money. So today, there's a lot of things that we can tell you about money. I love to talk about money now. But again, we all think about money something different. And I know that money is not everything. It is not. If you practice every day what you love doing most, every day, then you'll be very prosperous. Money will come. I believe 100% in that. As a matter of fact, I encourage that. But money touches everything, no matter what. If you wanted to write a check to a charity, there's money there, okay? If you wanted to send your children to schools, there's money involved in that. If you wanted to recruit great staff members in your company, you have to pay them well. You have to know that. If you wanted to invest in social media, you have to, they have to have money for that, right? So there's a lot of things. If you want to, so what I'm saying is money is a good thing. I don't think money is a bad thing. I think money is wonderful. It's great. Of course, there's some people who are driven by money. That's okay. There's nothing wrong as long as you use it for good purposes. So I guess my biggest belief is profit through purpose. If you can create profit through purpose, through good intention, money is wonderful. You know.
So how do we connect that though? Like what do you mean by profit with purpose?
So, you know, it's a great question in many ways, right? Especially today. Let's talk about, you know, the generation of today, Generation Gen Z, which I think is the most fabulous generation there is. Let's think about what they care for. They care so much about social causes. For them, that's really something that they feel connected to. So whether they're working in their work environment or anything, they have apps on their phone that has to do with giving money back, right? Tipping is important to them. So they really care about social causes. And so you know, if you're going to be running any kind of a company, any kind of a brand, you want to make sure that when you earn income, you also give income. You also give something. And if anybody who wants to be part of your organization, like you, Andrew, like you, Sam, you guys contribute so much for so many great foundations. You know, people really take into that. They would want to be around you, especially today. So it's almost like the glue. It's almost like the number one, what you need to do as a business owner is find out, what do you care for? Where do you want to contribute to? And when you put that on your website, on whatever brand that you have, people will magnet to that. And guess what? You need money for that, right? So that's profit through purpose.
Nice. Shirley commented here, I'm working on looking at as money as a tool, remove the emotion around it, which I think is kind of similar to what you're saying. It's like, okay, not focus so much on the money, but like, what's the purpose of the money? Like, what does the tool do for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Removing the emotions from it. And she's absolutely right about it. You know, unfortunately, we do have emotions. You know, we bring them from our childhood, and the more we can work on removing that and using it for good causes, Shirley is right. Yes. Yeah.
Kelly has a question. What did you do? We're going to tell you at the end of the program what she's actually done. You know, we're going to hold you on suspense there. But thanks for sharing that. I mean, mindset, you know, money can really change a mindset for a lot of people. And it really is whether it's like I was talking about, a good mindset or versus a mindset. Solution-oriented attitude. What when you think of that solution-oriented attitude as it relates to money, what does that mean to you? Because I hear that in a lot of conversations right now.
Solution versus
solution-oriented attitude. You know, everybody's looking for a solution. The salons are looking for a solution. We got a comment here. People are sweet salon, Sam, sweet salon. You know, they're looking for this whole solution to everything. Everything seems to be oriented to that, and the attitude is based on that. What's your comment on that in terms of, like, you know, like there's a question here from Poland in regards to what's happening in Poland and these loans that people have done and where they're at. I just want to hear your attitude on that solution-oriented attitude in today's world.
I will tell you that if we're going to focus on solution all the time, we're going to miss out on the joy that we have every day.
Oh, I love your attitude. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If we're going to focus on I love goals. Don't get me wrong. You have to have goals. You want to have driven. And but not everything is a problem. So if we're always going to look at things as a problem, then guess what? We're going to leave 24 hours in a problem that we need to solution for it all the time. It's exhausting, and you're not going to enjoy life. I would say, how about process? How about we looking into the process of growth, the process of development, the process of doing good things, right? And I think that I heard that from Barbara Fredrickson. Barbara Fredrickson is a great positive psychologist at the University of North Carolina. And she said, if you focus on doing 5 things that you love compared to one thing that you don't love a day, because we all have to do one thing that we don't love, 5 things compared to one thing that we love, you live a happier life. You live a happier life, then you will be prosperous. So I think then you don't have to look for solutions so much. So I hope I'm nailing that one.
No, I just love it. I mean, I'm embracing your comment. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to Kelly's question, like sweet versus salon, I think a lot of it comes back to like, what do you need? What do you want? What situation gives you more of what you want? To Ronit's point, it's about like, what's the lifestyle that you want to live, because there's different benefits and there's different, it's like give and take everywhere. And so we all have to look at that individually and say, well, what lifestyle do I want? How do I want to experience life? And I love you talk about that a lot in the book too, that it's not just about profit, it's about, profitability, big picture too, not just money wise.
No, it's an emotional profit. You have to feel you're progressing. When you're progressing, you're competent. When you're competent, you're progressing. And for Kelly's question, sweet versus salon, and I love what Andrew said. You got to make a choice. Sweet is an amazing thing. Thank God for them. What we would do without them? They serve so many amazing purposes. Independent stylist is amazing. What's wrong with that? Okay. It's the future, right? Salons is a wonderful thing. So you gotta kind of like figure out, what is it working for you today? What do you need, right? Do you want to work? Because even when you work with us in a sweet salon, you're not alone. It's a community. You have a community of independent stylists. You can create something together. So Kelly, it's all about like figuring out what is it that you need and find the right match for what you really need so you can prosper.
And I like the idea of like, it's not just prosper financially, it's prosper through your mental health, your emotional wellness, your body health, and all of that. I think one of the things that you kind of shared with me a long time ago is that, and I think you said it earlier, is that the money kind of fuels those things. The money doesn't create those things, but yeah, if we want to eat well and we want to take care of our bodies and we want to take care of our minds, we probably have to have some level of finance to support that.
Oh, absolutely. You look at things. I heard that the other day that cash is trash, right?
I love that.
Trash. And that's the thing. If you do not take your cash and you reinvest it, and so you can multiply it, so you can create a better value, then your cash will become trash for sure. So, there's, I know, I love that too. And it's true. It's true. You have to learn. You have to innovate. You got to learn. You got to learn everything about money. What can money do for your company? What can money do for your numbers? Profitability is important. You don't want to work 24/7 for just a little bit of profit to take home. You don't. Life is too short for that. So start learning what are NFTs. Start learning what are Bitcoins. What is Web3. We got to educate yourself. Of course, cash is going to be trash.
Right.
So, yeah,
that's great.
So the one thing Bobby had asked, Bobby from Poland had asked a question earlier, asking about, do you think it's a good idea to take loans to start businesses, or is it better to start modestly? And I don't know that, like, you can choose to comment to that specifically or not, but I think partially to that question is like, how do we start on that path in a healthy way? Because I think that's where a lot of salons get in trouble, right? They start in an unhealthy way, and then they're trying to dig back out.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. So it used to be that you can open a salon so cheap, almost with no money. You can just go someplace and get a place, start paying rent. You have about 10 clients to pay your rent. You're doing good. But today it's not the case. Today, to open a salon, you really need capital because it's expensive. That's what's nice also, but with salon lofts or sweet salon, you can be independent there. But if you're looking to do more than that, you need capital. You need capital to work with, and you want to research and get the best loan that you can, and you have to have right from the beginning. You have to know exactly what your expenses would be, and including paying back your debt, because you have to pay it back. So you need to include that in your expenses, and then reverse engineer of what your total income needs to be. So you're not just paying your expenses, but you have great revenue from it, really great profit from it. And as you grow, your money needs will be different in every stage. If you're at stage 1, which is you're in like, say you're a suite and you're an operator, then your money needs are different. When you're in stage 2, when you have a little bit more than 3 to 10 employees, your money needs are different. So you always have to adjust your money needs, and your profitability has to work for you, not against you. So when it comes to government loan, listen, if you can take something, back in the pandemic, they were offering loans like with only 3%, 30 years back. That's crazy. That's unheard of. If you took advantage of it, you just have to make sure that you have a plan to pay it back.
Yeah. And that's probably part of what your budget strategy has to be. Right? Like, you have to put these things into specific buckets.
Right. Yes, absolutely. What do you guys think? If you guys have taken loans before and bite you, or something that you needed,
I think. Go ahead, Andrew. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the thing I'll just kind of throw out there is that first loan that I got, an RC Willey department store credit card, without having any relationship to, oh, you have to pay this back. And I'm saying this kind of based on what you just said, Ronit, because I would just like kind of put some money towards it once in a while, like, oh yeah, I guess I have to pay this back. I had no idea that it was like completely ruining my credit and all these things. And it wasn't until I went to go buy my first car, and they were like, your credit is terrible. Like, you have this RC Willey credit card that has like 100 late payments on it. What did you do? And so the reason I say that is just, I do think that it is a responsible thing to do to make sure that we're looking at all those things. And like you said, Ronita, I think that's great advice. Make sure you have a plan on how are you actually going to get that money back to the loan. You
do. Yeah. Sam, did you have any debts before?
Nobody's life is financially perfect. That's for sure. No. So I think, I've gone certainly through my worries and my concerns and some silly little things that I did. I'll never forget. I joined a health club, and just exactly like that, Andrew, those things, you don't read the fine print, and that can go on for years if you're not careful. That's one thing that affected me. But I want to go back. There was a key word that you had mentioned earlier, process. Process. That right now is something I'm hearing a lot again. Yeah. So what does process mean in this whole concept of money mindset to you?
Yeah, it's going to take time. That things, we just want things so quickly. We think that if we get into a program, I even don't like the word program anymore, because program has got a beginning and an end, and there's never beginning and an end. There's a beginning, and it is a life of process. And I think that that's something we need to understand, that there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of processing to go through. And so that's really, in the money mindset, is there's a process to grow and process to become less fearful of money. Many times if we don't have money, we make the wrong decisions. And for example, and I'll give you an example of the other. I had a conversation with one of our customers who they really want to hire, and but if they don't hire within the next couple of weeks or 3 weeks, they might not be able to pay the rent. If they can't pay the rent, they're going to be evicted from their rent. So what are we doing in that situation? We're looking whatever can come, and let's hire somebody, just because we're afraid to lose something.
Right.
And we can practice the thought of, don't be afraid. Whatever happens, happens. What's the worst that can happen, right? But hire, but take your time hiring. It's a process to do all of that. That's something that is a money mindset. Because we're afraid of losing something, because we're afraid, we're just going to take whatever we can. We're going to take another haircut. We're going to take another color. And at the end of the day, people not thinking that if you're not profitable, if you don't have enough margins, it doesn't matter how many hours you're working or how many hours you're putting in. If the same hour is not profitable for you, you're just not going to advance. You're going to be in the same place, which 85% of businesses are, right? So so that's kind of like money mindset. It just sometimes it paralyzes you because you're afraid of it and you're making the wrong decisions. So on one of my presentation, I use Sam Via as a scaling process, a scaling example. People, so you're on my presentation, Sam, as an expert on scaling, and I explained that. What is scaling? What's the word scaling? And the word scaling, a lot of people think it's a measurement, which is correct. Some people think it's a speed. It's some sort of a speed measurement. But it's what it really is multiplication and replication. And I take an example of somebody like you, Sam, who you realize that you cannot always sell your time all the time. At some point, that's going to be enough. You're going to top your time. And at some point, you can only charge $1,000 an hour, but you can't just elevate it to the next level. Not everybody can, right?
Right.
So what were you thought? You were thinking at one point, I'm going to have an exit plan.
Yes.
What did you do? You develop a product line. Amazing, right? That's a scalable model. You develop an education process. That's another scalable model. Andrew, you've done the same thing. You're developing different resources of revenue. And that's something that money mindset will eliminate if you're always worried about money. You've got to think out of the box and say, well, what else can I do? What else can I partner? What else can I collaborate with? Right? And that's growth. So most clients in the presentation will say, well, Ronit, they have so much capital and they have so many people that help them and the back. And I said, no, they all are like you and like me.
If they only knew, Ronit, right, Andrew?
If they only knew what it takes to grow it. It's persistence, it's commitment. I see you guys everywhere working your bum off. And but that's a scalable model. So you don't need more than one, only one scalable model, and you can grow yourself to the next level. Yeah. And what Beth says, I think of working smarter, not harder. Absolutely.
Our fearless leader.
Yes.
And Shirley, you asked slow and steady. Is that kind of the recommendation?
Yeah, Shirley, that's a good question. What do you think, Sam? Slow and steady? What do you think? Sam, what do you think? Slow and steady?
Well, I think when I think of it, especially in today's world, people are so fearful right now of decision making. They really are. Where do they want to spend their money? You look out every day now. Should I get in my car? Now people are thinking, should I get in my car? It's really, I think money right now is in a lot of people's mind, in terms of where they're going, what they're going to be doing. And I think it's really a major predictor of behavior right now. And that I'm concerned. The attitude that we've always had, or I've always had myself, that I've tried to, relay to my team is, if we can help people get what they want, we'll get what we want, or what we need.
Absolutely.
And that comes from the joy of supporting people, the joy of helping people do what they want to do. One of my artists came up to me this last week and said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I said, "I owe you the thank you." He goes, "No, just thank you for giving me the platform and allowing me to do what I want to do and what I need to do to help these people."
Yeah.
So I think, but there's a lot of fear out there in terms of people. Am I making the right decision? Is it okay for me to do this? They're looking behind their back and looking for guidance. And I see that in salons a lot right now.
Yeah. And you're right about that. There's a lot of that, but there's always going to be that worry. And if we keep telling ourselves in the brain all the time, be careful, be careful, be careful. It's like when your mom tells you, don't climb on a tree because you're going to fall, and then you start thinking, I'm not going to climb on a tree because I'm going to fall. And so we do need to take a risk, but to be calculated with the risk is important. And I'm with you, Sam. There's a lot of concern about where should I put my money. But if you calculate and you look at your expenses, and then you know what you need to bring in, then you're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. You're really going to be okay. And so in times like this, right now, it's probably not a bad idea to be a little bit conservative, right? And more of like nourish and steer, but look for opportunities, because the opportunities are out there. And there's so many opportunities right now to look at where the risk is not as high. So for example, in our business, right? Like as a stylist or as a salon owner, what can you do to improve your income with a different revenue stream? So maybe invest in hair extensions more. Right. Maybe invest in hair restoration. Hair restoration is such a huge need now more than ever, right? I think the more you learn about opportunities and what you can do, the more you learn about your profit, how you save your money, how you not spend your money. If you know those numbers, you're going to be okay. You really will.
What's your comment, Andrea, if you don't mind my asking, on getting these salons to, it's very difficult. I find in my classes, getting these salon owners to take a leap and just simply look at their column book and think about premium pricing. I mean, I compare that to flying the plane. If I want to sit up in first class, I've got to pay more. If I sit in the back, the seats tend to be a little less expensive. They're smaller, etc. So my point being, those columns are airline seats. Asking yourselves, salon owners or stylists, what's the first appointment time that's booked? That's your first class seat. But people get fearful of that. Oh, Sam, really? I can't do that. I mean, we get caught in this rut where we stay with what's worked. But in today's world, let's face it, a lot of salons are taking their business models and starting to fold them in half or ripping them in half and trying to figure things out to do in a different way.
Yes.
So premium pricing is something I hear a lot out there, but I also hear that fear factor of that.
Yeah, I think it's always been that way. Everybody's always afraid of raising prices. I mean, I'll give you an example of myself, right? Salon Cadence is a white glove teaching and training company, and we are a high ticket company. And so even for me, last year I said to myself, should I raise my prices or should not raise my prices? I mean, I haven't raised my prices for 1 year. And then I said to myself, I'm definitely raising my prices. I just brought so much extra value to my process. I brought a lot of things. So yes, I am. But you bring extra value. What is the extra value that you bring? So if you bring extra value, you can raise your prices. And here's the deal. Here's how I look at prices. And I can't convince anybody to do that. But I will tell you, life is short. And if you want to work your bum off 24/7 making a little money, then your life is short, okay? You got to change. And so what's the worst that can happen? Maybe it will take you a little bit longer time to become 80% productive. But do you want to become 80% productive with making $20 an hour? Or do you want to become 80% productive with making $100 an hour? And then even much before that, figure out what is the amount of money that is going to build the lifestyle that you want.
Mm-hmm.
What is the amount of money that you want to build the lifestyle that you want? So if you have 2 children, where do you want to raise them? Do you want to take travel? Do you want to take, I tell you right now, there is no one in the world in Salon Cadence or even with us that we are not going to take 4 weeks minimum vacation a year, 4 weeks minimum. And I'm not saying you're going to go sit down on the beach and have pina coladas all day long, which is nice. I'll be the first one to do it. But I will say that you do need a week to think. A week to think.
Mhm.
I had a conversation yesterday with somebody who's telling me, Ronit, I implemented Profit First, 80%. I'm doing really great. And I said, so what's the problem? Why are you here? And she says, well, I feel like working. I feel like I want to grow more. I feel like I'm stuck. I feel I'm complacent. I hate that. And I said, well, okay, so how many hours do you work at the chair? Because you can't grow if you're going to be working all the time. So how many hours? It was like, I already cut my hours so much that that's not helping me. So I said, do you mind if I ask you how many hours? And she said, yeah, I'm working 35 to 40 hours behind the chair. I cut my hours. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No. We need the time to drink a cup of coffee in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to look at my phone and text a love message to my friend or a love message to my daughter. That takes time.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Okay? It takes time and thinking.
You're right.
I would like to think about what happened yesterday, because yesterday was something good. But if I don't, I forget what was yesterday, and then there's no joy in life. So you need the time to think. So tell me, what's more valuable, time or money?
Mm-hmm.
Time. Time is more important. So the minute we start applying that, we're going to be wealthy and emotionally profitable. And the money will come. Right? And if you use the Profit First method, you'll be able to keep the money. So that's kind of like where my 2 cents, it's exactly what you guys are doing. Like, I would like to text you guys and say, hey guys, Premiere was so amazing. It was so good to see you guys. I mean, that's what life is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Ronit, I need you to do a little coaching for me, because I want to raise my prices. I want to, of course, I want I want to make $100 an hour, but I mean, I don't really deserve that. Like, I'm not that good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when it comes to the mindset, it's just a process of work, right? I can't convince you that you're not worth it, but I'm going to ask you a different question. So, Andrew, what do you think you want out of life? Like, what kind of what the perfect work week will look for you?
I'd like to work about 25, 30 hours a week. And, the rest of the time be with my family.
Okay. And what is your total expenses per week?
I have no idea.
Okay, so I would start there. I would start finding out what are my total expenses per month, right? So let's say that your total expenses per month are $500. Okay, and I would like to have at least 4 weeks vacation. I know that $10,000 is what's going to cost me to go on vacation. I know that I want to buy a certain car. I want to have a certain house, and I know I want to give back at least $3,000 a year to the charity of my choice, which happened to be Here to Stay. Okay, so I'm going to take all of that total of what I want in life, and I am going now to reverse engineer it to 1 hour of what I need to bring in at the time that I want to work. So if all I want to work 25 hours as independent, that's what I want, 25 hours, I'm going to take, let's say, a total of $10,000 and divide that by not 52 weeks, 46 weeks, because I want 6 weeks off. And now I'm going to take that week and I'll divide whatever there is left, divided by 25 hours. And then I'll know that I need to bring, let's say, $250 an hour. That's it. Simple. So how do I do it? Well, if you're not producing that per hour, then you're not in the game. You're not in the game. And you can produce that money in different ways. It doesn't always have to be with just doing hair. It could be with extra resource of revenue that can help you, right? So there's other resources of revenue, scalable models. So that's the first thing that everybody has to do. Think what they want, how they want their life to be, what's going to give them pleasure, what's going to be really joyful. What do they like doing with their hands or with the brain that is going to make them happy? Because if they're doing something that they're not happy, but just they're doing it, they will never be successful. I mean, to a point, yes. So you got to love what you're doing. And then do the formula. Calculate that. You'll know what you'll need to produce. Now, maybe you're not going to be able to do it right away, but what if you give yourself a 3-year goal to get there? Right?
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's really key. What you just said there too, Ronnie, is kind of back to the question of like slow and steady. I think sometimes we start to look out and we see these big, huge goals. Like, oh, I want to make $150,000 a year. And I think one of the things that you shared with us tonight that's important is why? What is $150,000 to you? Is it vacations? Is it, we have to get past the number figure and get to like, what is actually in our heart that has a purpose? Because that's what will drive us, not just the want for the money. But if I'm making $25,000 a year right now, maybe making $150,000 a year is going to take a little time. And can I be patient enough? Can I do the processes consistently? Like you said, process, stick to the process, like trust that, if you make 27,000, the next month, if you make 28,000, like the increments will build up. It's do we have the patience to get there? Can we trust the process? Can we do the right things so that we can get to that?
Right, exactly. And, and we need to consider that our responsibilities that we have, that we cannot be selfish. So, Uncle Sam, we have to pay him. We do. If we don't pay Uncle Sam, we're going to go to jail. Basically, that's the way it is. And we can't just always owe money. So we know we got to do it. A lot of salon owners and a lot of us stylists, the problem is that we never know how much do we need to pay Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing puts us in a big trouble because there comes the time that we need to pay Uncle Sam and we don't have the money to pay them. The other thing is we always chase profit. We always say, let's look at my bank account. In my bank account, it says, oh my God, I did great. So I have $5,000 in my bank account. That means I can go and I can spend all of that $5,000. But what if 2 weeks, because when you look at the bank account, you never see what's coming and what's going. You only see what's today in your bank account. And this is what I call blind online bank accounting, because you look at it and you get blind about what you have. But really, you have to look at every day at your bank account, right? To know what you have. Because today you might have $5,000, but tomorrow, $3,000 just went to something that you owed 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in the hole. You're now in the hole. What's great about Profit First, that it keeps you always in the knowledge of exactly knowing every day what you have, so you make a good decision. And it allows you to always feel good, to sleep good at night, knowing right from the get-go how much you're going to give Uncle Sam and put it aside. And so you become brilliant when it comes to numbers. You become so savvy when it comes to numbers that you become confident and you make good decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Great stuff.
Thank you, Sam.
What you just said right there, Ronit, got me. It shifted even for me, and that concept that doing that process is drudgery, because I think that's a big part of the kind of money mindset problem. Is we think about, like, actually taking the time to do what you're about to share with us, which is to put things into categories and to do all these wonderful things with our money. Like, I know for me, it was like, ugh, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. That doesn't sound fun. But the way you just described it, it's like, that would actually be exciting. Like, if I could sit down and look at my accounts and be like, yeah, I got this stuff under control, that would feel good.
Mhm.
Amazing, amazing. You know, I was on a podcast today by Mike Michalowicz, and they asked me, what was it that your clients really liked with the Profit First? And what was for you? Because I started it, I used it before I actually taught it. And I said, for me, was the actually doing, the using my hands. So allocating my money. So every day I get money coming from my business, and every day I allocate my money to my 5 accounts. And I did it every day in the beginning because I was so scared that I don't have the money to allocate. So I did it every day. And what happened was the money started growing and start growing. And then when I saw that it actually working, I'm like, oh my God, this is really working. So now I'm gonna not do it every day. I'm gonna do it every week. So now I don't have to look at my bank guessing, is this right or wrong? Because I have 5 accounts that have the money, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to go to everything that I need. And I don't have to guess anymore. Right? My bookkeeper, my accountant, they don't know my financials. I'm the one who knows my financials. Right? I can decide, am I going to buy good shoes today or I'm going to buy good shoes tomorrow? So that's how it works. It works great.
Sammy, any final questions?
No, I just really enjoyed this in regards to the conversation, especially, is there's just so much going on out there. And one of the things that I've discovered is that, I'm beginning to discover that a satisfied life is much better than a successful life. And the reason I say that is because a successful life is measured by others, while a satisfied life is measured by your own heart, soul, and mind. And I think that's kind of what this story is about. It's about satisfying yourself. When you satisfy yourself, you're going to be able to satisfy others. So thank you, Ronit, for that. And the book, I just, anxious.
Well, Sam and Andrew, you both endorsed my book. I know you read it and I know you feel so highly of it. And I can't thank you enough for letting me be here and share this with everybody.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the book and where can we find it? And I think you actually even have a special program for watchers tonight.
Yeah, so profitfirstforsalons.com is where you can actually go and purchase the book. When you do go to that, you will be able to actually get free resources with the book. Exactly. If you go back to that slide before that, Profit First for Salons is the website, and you actually go and buy it there. And with that, you get free resources that go with the book. Really great. The book is like a workbook. It's amazing. There are 6 amazing stories in there of real people like you, like me, that had so much success with a Profit First. And if anybody that from here, one of the viewers buy it today, you get to enter. If any one of you buy it today, you get to enter to our 6 weeks Profit First challenge, where we're going to help you go through the process and implement it in your business, in your daily business. So great way to do it. It's typically $297, and we give in 3 free tickets for that. So you don't want to miss that. The book is phenomenal, guys, and it will totally change your money story.
Confirmed.
Thank you.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ronit. Where's the best place for them to reach out to connect to you?
They can definitely get me on Instagram at ronit.enos, and they can go to Salon Cadence. I'm very reachable. You can connect me right through my email. It's right there on my website. So saloncadence.com, ronitenos.com, and my Instagram. You can get me anytime. You can get anyone. Yes.
Beautiful.
Would
Well,
love to
thank
hear
you.
from everybody. Any question that you have, please feel free to send it to us. Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so much, Ronit. We appreciate your time tonight. We know you're super busy. She just literally got off an airplane from Israel, went straight to Orlando, went straight from Orlando home, and then straight to this and a podcast even earlier today. So thank you so much for spending your very precious time with us.
Andrew, I would spend hours with Sam and Andrew and Ronit. Those three people are so much fun. Hours on
We
a
love
golf.
you, Ronit.
I'll do it anytime, in the air, off the air, on the boat. You name it. I can't get enough.
Awesome.
Thanks for your time, my dear. We love you. We'll see you out there on the road. And as usual, continue to help and support the industry and do what you do. It's magical.
Thank you. I got you guys to thank for. Thank you so much, guys. Love you. Have a great night. Are we going to stand? Are we going to stay after the live stream?
Yeah, stay in the green room, and we'll be with you in just a minute.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Awesome. What a great show, Sammy. I'm inspired to definitely take on my finances a little bit better. I'll be the first to admit it has not been one of my strongest points over the years. And kind of like I said,
I love the little role play you did with that. I thought that brought out some really good, simple information that we tend to get. I'm so lucky that, Andrew, that we're able to bring people like this on to put it out there for people. I mean, who knows? As long as they're walking away with one little bite size, it's been worth it. So, and Andrew, I just want to give you a shout out, buddy, for what you're doing. If you're out there, guys, and you need someone to come into your salon, you need someone to give you uplift and talk about some things like this in terms of the spiritual side, the mental side of it. There's no one better at the moment, I believe, than Andrew. You're actually getting ready, or have you done the school thing yet?
No, that's this summer. It's second week of July.
Yeah, we're so proud of Andrew. He's going to be the keynote speaker at the ACSS, I believe, in Vegas. And that's the schools. So congrats on that, Andrew. Really proud of you on that. What else do you have coming up?
I'm heading out this weekend to go work with 2 salons, actually, on coaching stuff. We're going to be working on communication and connecting to core values and living life from our core values. So I've got 2 of those this weekend coming up.
Excellent. All right, brother. I love you, man. And I will talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Sammy. I appreciate you being here to co-host with us.
It was a joy.